What is going on, everybody? Am I live? I can't see myself on the TV. I'm Seth Donohoe, alongside Julian Jackson here on Ball Don't Lie, episode number 2. There I am.
Yeah, what's going on, my man? You know what? Little technical difficulties like that, don't sweat the small stuff, man. It's all about 10% what happens and 90% how you handle it,
Look, you're the producer. I'm relying on you for this kind of stuff.
Man, I'm really sorry.
Look, I messed up earlier with the whole streaming incident thing. You messed up trying to get. I gotta see myself.
Look, man. Look, I know you like looking at yourself. Don't be so narcissistic. Don't. Hey, let's not start. Let's each take a mulligan. Okay. All right, and I know we're talking about balls not lying. All right, so I know that's a golf term. Let's just call it. Let's call it even, and let's get rolling here. So that's what we got.
Well, guess what? I love playing golf. Ball Don't Lie, episode 2. We're gonna talk about some of the big news going on in the NBA right now. We'll briefly touch on Ohio State. I know this is an NBA podcast, but the way Ohio State has been playing has been sensational, and I figured that we'd touch on them a little bit. Got about 4 games left before they get into Big Ten conference play. Then we'll talk about how just terrible the Cleveland Cavs are doing after praising them so highly 3 weeks ago. They've just been really struggling now.
Was that, dare I say, the J word, right? The jinx? I mean, we really put the kibosh on that. And the season's not over, but I just want to jump in and intervene just for a second, because we talked all that smack about Millennial Man. We talked all that smack to everyone else. They're on their way, and now we've got a lot of news coming up and I'll wait for us to get there, but it's not good.
Look, they've lost, I believe, I'm looking at my notes here, 8 straight. And they were supposed to play San Antonio last night. I'm guessing it probably would have been 9 straight, but San Antonio has come down with some of the COVID, unfortunately, so they had to end up postponing that game. But yeah, the Cavs are sucking right now. Then we'll get into some of the MVP frontrunners in the league. Maybe play some predictions on who we think should be. If we got a list of about 10 to 13 players here, maybe if we might try and rearrange some of the players, who you think your front runner should be, all that kind of thing. Words are hard.
Plural. Yeah, you know what? Ball don't lie. We're already politically incorrect. Let's just keep it moving.
And then we introduce a new topic onto the show, kind of like a thing or not a thing, but we're going to call it boom or bust. So if it, I'll give out a little statistic or something. If you think it's a thing or a boom, you can decide that when we get to that part.
I'm sure we'll have some viewers tune in for that as well.
And then we're going to end it with the one and only technical foul. And I got a good technical foul for this week. I mean, praise this man for doing what he did, but he is also not very intellectual, I'd say, for placing a bet on this team to win the NBA championship. But like I said, if he ends up somehow miraculously hitting it, the payout can be huge. But
shoot your shot.
Yeah,
shoot your shot.
Shoot your shot. If you don't shoot your shot, that ball won't lie.
I typically try to change my theme every year when it comes to, but one year I attempted to do a lot of swinging the bat, And the analogy's not as great. No? Shoot your shot. I think you have a lot more opportunities to shoot your shot, no matter what you're talking about in life. Shooting your shot is relevant to a lot of things.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm like, swinging the bat. I threw that away in 2019. I've been shooting my shots since the beginning of 2020. I didn't get a lot of shots up, but we'll be all right.
Well, that makes one of us. So let's go ahead and get started. Some of the news going on in the NBA. LeBron James and Kyle Kuzma were warned for violating the flopping rule. Players can be fined after one warning, and I don't think that's anything serious to worry about. I want to say 5 to 8 years ago, I think the whole flopping thing, people were really taking advantage of it. You've seen a lot. I love LeBron James, but he was the number one person at the top of that list when it came to flopping. And since then, the NBA has kind of really buckled down on it. But it's It's just interesting because now you don't see very many of the flops anymore.
They're not blatant and obvious flops, but when you look at them, you say, "Oh, come on." Like, come on, man. Are you serious?
Yeah.
That's really like, why are you reacting that way? But oftentimes we look at them and it was like instant replay and we look at them in slow motion and we try to justify why they, may have done what they did. Like, I remember one time seeing a guy get, it looked like, on the replay, oh my gosh, his nose got hit. And clearly the elbow came 2 inches from his face, but still. And I'm like, you got to stop. You got to stop with that. So that kind of stuff, if it's impacting the game, I find it funny.
Yeah.
I think it's great for entertainment.
Yeah.
But I get it. I'll leave that for later on.
I mean, they're just players. They're just trying to do anything they can to help their team win the game. I mean, when someone is viciously throwing an elbow right around your face, the best thing to do is to, really the only thing that can be proven is, now they have the instant replay that they can go back and look. But back then, you had to have a bloody nose in order for it to be, oh, wow, he actually did elbow him in the face. But no, like I said, LeBron and Kyle Kuzma's the flop that they had, it was in last week's game sometime. I can't remember who they were playing against, but it was one of those where it's like, that was just, Hollywood would kick you out. That's how bad of an acting job it was.
Yikes.
So, that happened. Also, for the Lakers, Anthony Davis exits their game a few nights ago versus the Nuggets with a leg injury. It seems to be some kind of Achilles, they say. A couple nights ago, LA had reported that Anthony Davis has a calf strain and he'll be reevaluated in 2 to 3 weeks. This had happened on Sunday and is unlikely to return to the lineup prior to NBA's March 5th through 10th All-Star break. Okay. Davis had missed 2 games last week with tendonitis in his right Achilles and had to exit Sunday's loss to the Denver Nuggets shortly before halftime after aggravating the injury. On Monday, he got an MRI, revealed the calf strain and tendonitis aggravation, a source told ESPN, but did not show a rupture of the right Achilles tendon. So,
well, that's a huge break for them, obviously, because when I think calf, I think, and not calves, but when I think calf, I think of the tendons and everything and how it's all connected in your body and how big of a deal that is. And, you've seen some really bad Achilles injuries, and going back, noting one of the greatest of all time, arguably the Kobe Bryant, when my man stayed on the floor and shot his free throws. Yeah, I so much respect going out for that. But what do you expect from nothing? It's hard to compare to, but when you're the best, what are you going to do? And that's just such a great example. It's insane that someone's actually able to do that, because I could not imagine what that would feel like.
I don't cry very often, but I'm sure I'd be crying.
Oh, no. Yeah, I'd be crawling. I would not be walking. I'd be crawling. I would immediately get... it would be
help. Bad. That'd be me. I ain't gonna lie.
But that's good. To intervene there, it's a big break for Anthony Davis and for the Lakers trying to repeat this year.
Yeah, absolutely. He is obviously one of the big focal points for LA. They did make some decent offseason acquisitions. They lost some people, brought some people in. Wesley Matthews is one of the names that comes to my mind. When they made some offseason trades. So last year they kind of struggled a little bit, I'd say, with depth. They had players, but I don't think that the skill for those bench players is the skill that they have this year. So like you said, they're obviously trying to make a repeat for the finals. I think they're sitting at second in the West right now. So obviously, if you're LA, you're not going to do anything to hurry Anthony Davis back.
No, you've got super hot teams out there. Who is it? The Jazz, who are 19-1. They're past 20 games or something ridiculous. Yeah. So why attempt to compete when you know that you're poised for a conference championship, and don't push the envelope now?
Right.
wait for everything to come together, get some of those guys who are from the bench ready to go out there and compete at a high level. And then from there, that you've got guys who can play for you when that time comes around. That's what your bench is for. And right now they can get a lot of great reps. They're all pros anyway, right?
Yeah.
We're not talking college guys, but they're going to get a lot of great reps moving forward. And that right there is going to be important. They're not stressed at all. They know what they're doing. And of course, you've even got LeBron. Does he need to be playing as much? They've got load management and all that. Mm-hmm. But that's something to think about as well. When you don't have your this isn't 2 years ago when he first got there. And, after they know everyone's gone, that they're sitting him out against the Pistons, which I'm bitter about because it's a game I went to, for my birthday up at Little. I am. I'm going to stop that right there. I can go on a rant.
So... yeah, that's just one thing to look out for the Lakers as the coming weeks are coming up. Not proper English. Sounds good, but hey, we're a sports show. We're not English majors or anything like that. So,
I think
it helps to be able to speak fluent English.
I don't speak real good. No, it definitely. You know what? Ball don't lie.
Ball don't lie. That's all we're gonna say. Hey, you know what else doesn't lie? Eli Manning.
Eli Manning. I knew you were going to go there, and I'm so happy that you did.
Just because.
All right, good.
Now let's talk about Andre Drummond and the Cleveland Cavs, man.
Take a deep one. It's all right. You need a minute. I can tell.
Okay. The Cleveland Cavs has said that they want Jarrett Allen to be their starting big man and to have the future revolve kind of like around him as the center focal point for the big man.
No pun intended.
No pun intended. Absolutely. What I don't get is that Andre Drummond isn't even 30 years old. Is, I'd say, a top 5 big man in the league, and you don't want to keep him on your roster?
And I don't really know if it's a problem or not. And I don't know how everyone else feels about this. My parents never got me braces or anything. Not that I'm bitter about it. Whatever. Thanks, Mom and Dad. But for Andre Drummond, I recall seeing him it seems like it was in the past 5 years, or when he was in the dunk contest. Mm-hmm. And he had braces. Yeah. Like the wired mouth braces. And I feel like that was so recently. I'm sure it was maybe it could be 5 years ago. Fine. But not even being 30, he was a monster, and he was going out there. And I'm like, man, this guy's huge, and he's athletic, and he's stuck with Detroit. And then they got Blake Griffin and all that. And I'm like, okay, cool, man. These guys are working together or whatever. And then the Cavs get him, and I'm like, yes, let's go.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, boop, hey, we'll see you, bye. And I don't get it, man.
Well, it's like I said, I get it. Jarrett Allen, I love Jarrett Allen. He's a great young kid who has a lot of potential, really. But what I don't get is you brought Andre Drummond in last year, had him this entire offseason. He's been playing the entire year this season, and he's really learned this offense, and you just brought Jarrett Allen in 3 weeks ago, and now you want him to be your star as the center? I mean, I don't get why. If you want to move on from Andre Drummond, I mean, so be it. That's obviously a front office situation that they have to talk about. Coach J.D. Bickerstaff, they're going to have to come together. Obviously, they already have came together and talked about it. But why not? He knows this offense. He's been in the league longer than Jarrett Allen. If you want to move on from Drummond, fine. But you can still use him as a beneficiary to be able to put Allen under his wing, essentially. And Allen would be able to learn a lot from Drummond, I believe.
Yes, and yes. I mean, I don't have to disagree with you because it's a move that you've made, and then it's so abrupt to do that. From what I had read yesterday on ESPN, obviously there's some contractual stuff going on, and I believe that both of them are going to be free agents after this year. But one is Jarrett Allen is going to end up being the restricted free agent, whereas Drummond is going to be an unrestricted free agent.
Right.
And it comes down to dollar bills.
Yeah.
And I say to the Cavs, get a Quicken loan and get it taken care of. Okay. you have a guy who's in your city and who's big and he's growing and he wants to be there, and he even wore farewell on his hoodie walking into the game the other day in silence, and it's sad to watch guys like that go, because the excitement in that city flares up and they get so excited about things like that, and it's disappointing to watch the Cavs do this time and time again. And I know they're not having the success that they wanted, and when we were talking about this weeks ago, but for me it's disheartening. And I'd rather that not be the case for the only NBA team in Ohio that I root for. Right. Not have to fall back on Ohio State, but enough for me on that.
Yeah. I mean, and props to Andre Drummond during this time. He still continued to be supportive. I mean, he was, I believe it was Monday, I'm sorry. He was put on the bench for, and I love on ESPN when under the box score it says Andre Drummond was out at the game for rest. Okay, come on ESPN. We know what's really going on. Just don't even put him on the box score. But has just continued to be supportive. He's out there on the bench. He's cheering on his teammates because he's still part of the team as of now. And he's out there. He's in the locker room. He's providing pointers for everybody out there. And I just love and support. I just love how he is supporting them through this time. And I'm sure most people have heard Draymond Green after Monday's game stating that there is a double standard that exists in the NBA in terms of players and trades. That players are unfairly labeled as selfish if they ask to be traded, while teams can do as they please.
Mm-hmm. Well, when you're talking about large organizations and they're making more business-like decisions, but there's many players or many people in this world who want to make it out to seem like it's selfish because these guys want a day off. Mm-hmm. And these are athletes. These are insane freak athletes in this world who are providing top-tier entertainment for us day in and day out, and especially during this time, maybe a shortened season, but more games during a week. This is more stress, more strain for them. And as soon as they raise their hand for player empowerment and attempt to say, I want this or I want a day off, right? Their rest days, they're still traveling with the team. Rest is not rest.
Right.
Okay. They don't get a Sunday. They don't have a Sabbath in these leagues. They are going hard. And then if you have games rescheduled, there's so many things to have to think about. But I'm glad you brought up the fact that Drummond is still being a team player, because so many times they are cast as selfish guys, and he's campaigning for himself in this role. He can go to a team who's looking for a guy who is going to be a team player, is going to have longevity, and is also going to be a freak and a guy they're looking for, and maybe you can bring someone else in under him. But Andre Drummond's going to have a great spot, a new home somewhere, and that I'll be very excited, and I applaud him for his efforts to this point.
Yeah, absolutely. And he, like I said, I think he's a top 5, maybe even top 3 big man in the league. You hope that the Cavaliers are able to get something really good out of it, because he is a top-tier talent. I believe a 2-time All-Star. He's been playing some of his best ball over the past 2 to 3 years. Going back to his later time with Detroit and then coming down to Cleveland, and like I said, he's basically a double-double machine. So we'll see what happens. Only time can tell. Like I said, he's too good of a talent for the Cavs to get something cheap out of it, and I just have like this weird feeling in my gut that the Cavs aren't going to get what Andre Drummond is worth. But like I said, time will tell. So we'll see what happens.
Yes, sir.
All right. So that's some of the big news going on in the NBA. Let's talk briefly about Ohio State. Quick little tidbit to note. After losing to Purdue on January 19th, the Buckeyes have now won 6 straight games. Most recent, they beat Indiana 78-59. In that game, E.J. Liddell had 19 points. Justice Suing had 16 points and 10 rebounds. Dwayne Washington had 12, and C.J. Walker added 10 off of the bench. Indiana was led by Trace Jackson Davis's 23 points. So, right now, if March Madness was to start today, ESPN bracketology has Ohio State as a number 1 seed in the 4th region. Gonzaga has the number one overall seed, followed by Baylor and Michigan, which number 3 Michigan beat number 21 Wisconsin on Sunday, 67-59, after having 22 days off due to positive COVID tests and everything. So,
Let me ask you something real quick.
Go ahead.
Do you really believe that team up north is still a 1 seed after having that big of a layoff? And do you believe that hurts them or helps them?
Maybe it's a little bit of both. I mean, obviously, you've been playing all season with no interruptions, and then you have a 22-day layoff. It's good because you're able to get some of that rest that you might need, but it's bad because I feel like you're going to lose some of the flow to the game that you've been playing. They've been having one heck of a season. Like I said, they're number 3 right now. So when you get into that game, I mean, their first game since having that break, they won by, it looks like it's 8 points over a top 25 team in Wisconsin, a good Big Ten basketball team. So they play tonight against Rutgers. So I think we'll have to see how they handle that one. Ohio State plays at Penn State tonight, and then Ohio State and Michigan match up with each other on Sunday. So I think they might still trying to be getting their feet underneath them. But Sunday is going to be a top 5 matchup, and it'll be an exciting one. So we'll see what team really comes to play. Another note, since E.J. Liddell, he went 0 for 6 in one game from the field in the loss to Northwestern back in the middle of January. Only finished with like 6 points, all 6 points coming from the free throw line. In the past 8 games, he's been averaging 17.6 points per game, including a 7-point outing versus Maryland where OSU won. If you take out that 7-point game, in the previous 7 games, he's averaging 19.1. So this is the star player that, if you're Ohio State, you like to see. He had one bad game in a loss to Northwestern, in which they honestly probably shouldn't have lost. Since then, he's really stepped it up. He's been putting in the work, putting in the time and the effort to put this team on his back, and now he has helped put Ohio State at the number 4 spot in the most recent rankings.
E.J. Liddell, I've always liked him ever since he came in, and it's Chris Holtman's team. He built that team, I thought, when they lost DJ Carton. Is it Carton? Mm-hmm. Last year. And
going to Marquette, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, and he's been doing well out there, and that's great for him. But it was a mental health issue, and who knows if that's an excuse. And I'm not taking mental health lightly at all, and I want everyone to know that. But whatever it is, I'm happy that he's able to find happiness closer to home or whatever it was. But there's other guys out there too, and Holtman has always said that when you have these guys come out, this is a team, and this is what we're going to do. And he's always set that expectation, and he has high expectations for the team. And finally, we have something. But, we'll see in the coming weeks where they end up. Don't necessarily know if they're a 1 seed, true 1 seed. Mm-hmm. And this season has been so wonky. Who's to tell? But I'm excited to see what happens, being local, and with it being, with me being, a supporter of Buckeye Athletics. I'm excited for it. I just don't want to see him fizzle out and do something silly like, blow out in the second round.
Yeah. Well, and we're going to see what they're really made of, because their remaining schedule, tonight they're at Penn State. Sunday they're at, they played number 3 Michigan. Then on February 25th, they play Michigan State, and then finish up the season with, on February 28th against number 15, which is now, I believe, number 11, Iowa. So I think if Ohio State wants to secure the 1 seed, they have to win both games against the unranked opponents. If you're a good team, if you're a good number 1 team, you go in there and you handle business. And if you got to do that, and I think that you have to win at least one of these 2 top 20 matchups.
Of course. No, you absolutely have to. And the strength of schedule and all that stuff built in is the same, but I just don't want to hear any of that extra from haters or whatever else to be able to say, oh, I told you they weren't supposed to be in it. I don't care. Ohio State, do what you're supposed to do, win your games, and no one's going to, and who cares? There's enough people who don't like Ohio State across the entire world, but enough people who love them. So it really doesn't matter. It's not going to hurt my feelings either way. I just want to see them get it done.
Yeah, so only a few games left in the season. Then we got Big Ten tournament play, and then we're off to March Madness, which, sucks that we missed out on it last year, but COVID came about, and now it's a new year, new time. So we're going to go and take a short break. This is Ball Don't Lie on the Score on Air Network. Seth, Donohoe, Julian Jackson will be right back.
Design ideas for t-shirts but you're not sure where to go? Go to Mojo Sports Gear. That's right, Mojo Sports Gear. At Mojo Sports Gear, you can get custom-made shirts. Whatever design you need, Mojo Sports Gear can provide it. Don't forget to grab a custom-made cap on your way out and rock the best headgear in the game. Give them a call at 614-864-6656. That's 614-864-6656.
And we are back with Ball Don't Lie, Seth Donohoe, Julian Jackson. Just got done touching over the Buckeyes, and now we're going to get into I kind of just want to skip over how bad the Cleveland Cavs are doing. But
this is your show, The Ball Don't Lie, so I feel as if we are compelled to have to discuss their poor performance.
Yeah. So over the past week, the Cleveland Cavs are now 10-18. They are after 8 straight losses, by the way. They're sitting at 14th in the East, where about 3 weeks ago they were sitting 14th. They had some nice games, nice couple wins, got moved up to about 10th, 9th, right in there, and now we're just right back where we started.
They were in playoff contention, yes. At that point. 12
games into the season, we were in playoffs. We were in the playoffs, baby.
Yeah.
On February 10th, Cleveland lost, 133-95 versus the Denver Nuggets. Colin Sexton went 1 for 9 from the field, okay? Your star player went 1 for 9 from the field. Finished with 4 points. Got 8 assists, though. But yet your team only put up 95 points. That's just...
that's misleading because he's been doing so well for so much time. Yeah. And I've heard you on not just this show, but my show, The Crockpot. And, I believe that you've brought him up as well on the Millennial Pod. Mm-hmm. But Sexton has been a blessing nonetheless for the Cleveland Cavaliers, even if there are certain, fans who feel as if it was a mistake to have him, but they razzed him so much, and then he started performing, and then he's got a streak of some bad games. It's going to happen. He's a young guy. He's still playing.
Yeah. It is what it is. The Denver Nuggets, they're a good team. Jarrett Allen ended up finishing with 18 points, 10 rebounds. Taurine Prince had 12. For Denver, Paul Millsap had 22 points. Michael Porter Jr. had 19 points. Denver had a total of 6 players in double figures. I believe the Cavs only had about 2.
You hate to see it.
Tough. Here's where it gets interesting. Denver shot 51 of 85. That's 60% from the field. Cleveland shot 36 of 94. That's 38.3%.
Shoot your shot. Almost 100 balls up. Come on. Ball don't lie. They did not shoot. That's almost shooting 40% from the field, though.
The Cavs took 9 more shots and made 15 less. I'm just gonna blow over that one. Denver shot 16 of 36 from 3. That's 44%. Cavs shot 8 for 37. That's 21.6%. I mean, obviously, this was just a tough scoring night in general. Like I said, this was part of their, I think it was like a 6-game West Coast game stretch. Maybe they just weren't, feeling it out there on the West Coast. Who knows? So, offensive rebounds. What do I got here? 18 offensive rebounds to Denver's 4. The Cavs out-rebounded the Nuggets 18-4 on the offensive end alone, and still lost by whatever that is, 38.
Well, and that's a tale of not being able to capitalize on many of your shot opportunities. When you have that many offensive rebounds, you would get. How do you even get 94 shots up? I mean, that's ridiculous. That's the number's insane. Getting 100 shots up, only making 38, right under 40, or 36 rather, right under 40. That's rough. But Denver shot lights out with 60%, which is insane.
Yeah.
And even if you were to match their points in the paint, you're still talking about 10, 15-point difference.
Yeah. I mean, Denver had 62 points in the paint. Cavs had 42 points. I wonder, because I didn't get to watch this game, I wonder how many of those 18 offensive rebounds were putbacks that didn't fall. Because let's say they get 18 offensive rebounds that's right around the rim, and you put it up, and you put it right back up and make it. That's 36 points right there. You lost by 38. That's a 2-point game. I don't know. I just don't know anymore. February 12th, the Cavs took on. God, words are so hard today, man. I am struggling.
That's because you didn't hit your warm-ups. You didn't hit the keys. You didn't go, ow now, brown cow. Ow now, brown cow. You didn't. Unique New York.
I was running behind, so I couldn't get into the gym on time for the layup lines. Portland ended up defeating Cleveland 129-110. Gary Trent Jr. had 26 points, handed Cavs their 6th straight loss at this time. Melo added 23, and Enes Kanter had 21 and 13 rebounds. For the Blazers, who at this time had won 5 of their last 6 games. And Portland led by as many as 30 points in the dominating win. They only ended up winning by 19, but I'm guessing probably around the halfway mark of the fourth quarter they took out their starters. So, Gary Trent said, and I'll praise Portland. They've been playing tremendous basketball this year, especially with Dame Lillard and Dame time, baby.
Dame time.
Gary Trent said that they're staying locked in and trying to get as many wins as they can. And in that tough Western Conference, you have to. Only the top 8 teams get in. Colin Sexton had 25 points for Cleveland, which at this time they had lost 8 of their last 9. Tumbled to 3rd to last in the Eastern Conference, but now they're 2nd to last. J.D. Bickerstaff said, obviously we're going through a rough patch at a tough time against very good teams. And that's how it is. They are playing some of the teams that are right there in the middle of playoff contention teams, East and West, mainly in the West right now because that's where their stretch was finishing up. But, you're an NBA team. You gotta keep things competitive, man.
Well, and I feel as if maybe in the beginning of the season, when everyone's getting their bearings under them, when everyone's getting prepared and doing these things, it's still going to take a little while to get that jump start and get rolling. And when everyone was somewhat disorganized, the Cavaliers were able to use the talent they had to be able to flex their muscle a little bit, the little bit they had. Once you've seen that team once or twice, seen some film on the Cavaliers, the other coaches and things learning how to capitalize on certain opportunities, learning how to expose them in certain ways, then you start to see their downfall. And it's not necessarily a downfall. It's the teams who are supposed to be good getting better and rising up because as we're getting towards this all-star break, you're starting to see the teams who should be heating up heat up the way they should and, getting ready to be in the playoffs.
And, I mean, it's only 29 games into the season right now. Like I said, the Cavs are 10-19. I told you guys wrong earlier. I said 10-18. They're 10-19, 29 games into the season. And, of course, in a 72, regularly 82-game season, usually your first 20 is you're just trying to get a feel of getting back into the season, playing against other teams instead of just playing against your practice squad and whatnot. So it is still early. I guess I should give them that benefit of the doubt. But it's just a struggle because they're my Cavs, man. I just want to see them do good, but
I know. You want to see them do well. I know you have an affinity to the team, the squad, everything there is to know about them. You've stayed loyal throughout this time. LeBron left you, blah, blah, blah. Kyrie left you, blah. I mean, there's a lot. There's a lot. And I'm not, I'm not mocking you.
Are you sure? Because it sounds like it.
I support the Cavaliers. I want them to do well. I like going to games, even though we can't now. Mm-hmm. But it's growing pains once again. And Cleveland's gone through this time and time again. But don't forget, you won a championship in 2016. So let's not, be too in our bag about this.
Right.
Because there will, I believe they have the right coach right now. Mm-hmm. And they have to keep a team together, and right now they're still making moves. Kevin Love's still not back yet, right?
No, he actually did end up coming back and starting practicing again from I believe it was a calf strain.
That's been since December.
Yeah, and but he did just start this week in the past couple of days coming back to practice.
So he has not yet played a game, though?
Not yet.
Okay, so still waiting on that, and he was supposed to be a part of the piece with Andre Drummond. And that's what you haven't seen. And that's where I'm a little bit disappointed just getting back on that. But I'll stop there.
Bringing up bad memories. No love on Valentine's Day for the Cavs. They lost to the Clippers 128-111. That is their 7th straight loss. Lou Williams had 30 points and 10 assists. Serge Ibaka had 21 and 9. And Marcus Morris had 23 points off the bench for the Clippers. No Kawhi Leonard and no Paul George, and you still lost by 17. Sexton had 22 points. Garland had 20 points. Jarrett Allen with 15 and 10. And actually, Jetty Osman had 20 points off the bench. So, he's a good role player, which that's what you'd like to see. Andre Drummond was out for rest. The following night, February 15th, Cavs lost to the Warriors 129-98, 8th straight loss. I'll say it again. Steph Curry finished with 36 points. Andrew Wiggins with 15 points. Draymond Green had 6 points, 8 rebounds, and 16 assists.
Man, Draymond, he's one of those people I just don't like his face. I know that he's always been a good player.
Yeah.
And he does really well, and that's great for him. I've always disliked his attitude from my end. And, I know we're not really asking for my opinion, but I just really have a strong dislike for him.
I mean, I'm the same way, and it's kind of like the same way with Tom Brady and football. Like, I can't stand the guy, but I'll give him credit where it's due, is he's a great basketball player. And also, like Tom Brady, like, with the Patriots, Draymond Green fits in that Golden State system.
Yes, he does.
If he went to any other team, I'm not sure that it would be working out with him. So,
no, you're not wrong about that, but he hasn't made it to that level yet for me, to the point where, oh man, he's in the talks with some of the greats, and he's just annoying.
Yeah,
he's that person that is good, but they're annoying, and or even that friend that's annoying, but you can just hang out with them every now and again. Yeah. Small doses.
Yeah. No, and to touch on, the whole Andre Drummond thing again, what he said is there's like a double standard between players and teams when it comes to trading and everything. And that was actually one of the very few times that I agreed with what he had said. So, yeah, Draymond Green for you. Colin Sexton finished with 23 points. Osman had 17 points, 10 rebounds. Jarrett Allen had 13 points and 14 rebounds. If Drummond was in, I'd bet he'd have 25 and 20. Warriors had 34 assists, team assists, to Cleveland's 19. So
So Draymond Green almost had as many assists as the entire Cavs team.
16 assists for Draymond Green, 19 for Cleveland.
Jeez. Man, it's not good to hear those numbers, I'll tell you.
No. But if you're the Warriors, you'd love to see that stat line. So their upcoming games. Yeah, they were supposed to play last night against San Antonio. San Antonio is 16-11, sixth in the West, but that one was postponed due to since when was it? February 5th, I believe, or February 10th. I got it right here. 5 players have tested positive for COVID in the past 8 days in the NBA, 4 of them coming from the San Antonio Spurs. So, and I'll give props to the NBA. They're one of the sport leagues that does a very good job of trying to do everything they can for players and coaches to contain and limit the spread of this virus in their sport.
Minus having an all-star game.
Yes. So, like I said, in the past 8 days, there's only been 5 players that have tested positive. I'm not sure how many have tested positive for the season, but I don't think it's very many. I know that Kyrie had that one incident where he went to a birthday party without a mask. I'm not sure. I don't believe he tested positive for COVID. But the NBA does do some good things when it comes to trying to protect their teams and their players and trying to get as many games as they can played.
No, I believe they're doing a good job of that. It's a lot of the stuff that you see, some of it is contact tracing, which misleads a lot of people because you say someone's out and all you put is COVID, or rest for something. That's misleading to, a lot of the viewers. So that's something I want to point out. And shoot, we'll have to have a little bit of discussion offline about the All-Star game and the rest of what that drama brings.
Right. So their next game is going to be on Sunday, the 21st, against the Thunder. Thunder are 11-15. Actually, I believe they won late yesterday, so that's 12-15, 14th in the West. Finally going to play against, at least record-wise, a team to their caliber. Maybe they can, break that 8-game losing streak and try to get one in the win column. So that's everything that's going on with the Cavs. We're going to go ahead and take another short break. When we come back, MVP frontrunners, boom or bust, and we are going to give our technical foul. Seth, Donohoe, Julian, Jackson. This is Ball Don't Lie on Score on Air Network.
In sports, you want to have a player that can get the job done right every time. A real all-star, somebody that's dependable and you can turn to when the game is tough. That player in the audio-video industry is the theater people. From setting up your home's Wi-Fi network and offices, conference rooms, to setting up home theater inside or outside, to setting up the systems to make your home run smarter and safer as well. The theater people can do it all with the quality of professionalism you can expect every single time. That isn't just a great all-around player. That is an all-star. That is why we are the leaders in audiovisual installation in Central Ohio. So call us at 614-604-6327 or check out our website at ttpcolumbus.com to figure out which products will fit you. And don't forget, amplify your personality with the theater.
And we're back with Ball Don't Lie. My man, Julian Jackson. Oh, man. You had a little hiccup in the beginning with trying to get me on screen and everything, but you've come in clutch the past 40 minutes.
And I really appreciate you saying that and acknowledging my greatness, but I don't want you to, J-word me. I really don't. Okay?
I got you.
Yeah, don't J-word me. Don't J-word your show.
There's been too many of that over the past 24 hours.
Now I'm looking at the control board like...
You're missing something?
Yeah,
no.
I'm not.
No. You're doing a good job. You're killing it out there. So we've talked about Ohio State's nice little run that they're on, the Cleveland Cavaliers, and the bad little run that they're on. And now let's just go ahead and dive into some all NBA. Look at the MVP frontrunners. For right now, coming in first, LeBron James for Los Angeles has averaging 25.7 points per game, 8.2 rebounds per game, and 7.9 assists per game. I mean, ever since he came into the league, he's been an MVP frontrunner basically every year. Coming in second is Joel Embiid for the 76ers. Last week he was ranked second. Has 29.6 points per game, 10.8 rebounds per game, 2.8 assists, 1.3 blocks, and 1.3 steals, which for a big man, obviously the blocks, that's pretty good, but for a big man, 1.3 steals a game, that's pretty good. Nikola Jokic at 3 for Denver, 27.1 points, 11.3 rebounds, 8.6 assists, and averaging a little more than Joel Embiid, 1.6 steals per game. And you like to see the big men getting in and doing some of the dirty work.
I feel like I haven't seen a big man with the MVP in a long while now. So, it always
right.
I mean, big man, yes. LeBron big, yes. Is Giannis big? Yes. But are they a center? No.
No, like a true
big man. Yeah. I miss my Shaquille O'Neal MVP. Mm-hmm. I miss my, Tim Duncan. Mm-hmm. I miss my Dirk. And I want guys, and I know Dirk was a jack of all trades, so I mean he's pretty unique. You could still call him a forward in many respects, but if you're 7 foot and you're big, you're not Kevin Durant. Yeah, skinny and can move like that. I don't know. That's just something to bring up. I mean, Joel Embiid, I put him in that camp. Big man.
Yeah, absolutely. Kevin Durant, speaking of, for Brooklyn, averaging 29.5 points per game, 7.4 rebounds, 5.2 assists. Kawhi Leonard comes in at 5th for the Clippers, 26.5 points, 5.9 rebounds, 5.1 assists, 1.8 steals. And, I mean, you expect that from these kind of numbers from Kawhi are not surprising. I mean, he is just a freak of nature, basically.
I like him, though. Jokic.
Oh, you're going back 3 people. Okay.
No, that's all right. No, I'm at a glance. I know you haven't asked me yet, but I'm telling you that, go ahead. Keep going.
Okay.
Keep going.
Okay. You know how to get me thrown off. You were doing so good, Julian.
I told you, don't J-word me, man.
I haven't. You're doing it to yourself, man. I'm not doing anything.
I'm an attention span of a squirrel. So,
Giannis Antetokounmpo coming in at 6th for Milwaukee, 28.2 points per game, 11.4 rebounds, 5.8 assists. Steph at number 7 for Golden State. Steph Curry, 30.1 points, 5.3 rebounds, 5.5 assists. Damien Lillard at 8 with 29.9 points, 4.4 rebounds, 7.7 assists. Luca at number 9 with 29.1 points, 8.6 rebounds, 9.4 assists. I had my wording here wrong. One little thing, this is where what kind of confuses me a little bit. Averaging more points than LeBron, averaging more rebounds than LeBron, averaging more assists than LeBron, and Luka's all the way down at 9.
But the reason, do you know why that is, Seth?
Because Dallas isn't doing very good.
It's because
Dallas doesn't play the national anthem.
Jeez. Oh, boy. All right. So, look, the reason why this is because how you qualify your MVPs is look at how Aaron Rodgers won, right? Did you truly believe he was the best player in the league? Maybe. However, his team did not win. Typically, you're looking at the team's success because of that player. And because of the voting and when they put it through and all the rest of that. And I don't know what qualifies these guys as being the most valuable players, but if you're talking about the most valuable player in the league or you're talking about the most valuable player for your team, right? And how are you deciding that? Is it all numbers based? Is it due to the success of your team? Because then would you be able to argue that where's my guy from the Jazz, right? No one on there's from the Jazz. So you're not giving credit to the team, really. You're giving credit just to the one guy. But I do agree with you in that his numbers aren't as good as a guy who might be number 9 on that list. I don't know how they do it. I don't know who they're voting with, and you can see that this top 5 list has not changed or wavered over the past week. So, and that's why I say Jokic, because that guy is making a big impact on his team. LeBron, if you have more than one superstar on your team, more than one big name, I say, boom, you're out of contention for the MVP. Giannis eligible, LeBron not. I say Joel Embiid, because he's got a couple other guys eligible. Joel Embiid's eligible. Jokic's eligible.
You don't think Jamal Murray is another star for Denver?
I don't even know why he's not on this list. That's what's sad, because what I watched him do in the playoffs last year, but whatever. And I'm not an expert.
Well, then, and that's like another person that's not on the list, Devin Booker.
Man,
For Phoenix, who's been putting up fantastic numbers since last season. Jamal Murray and Devin Booker are not getting enough credit that they deserve.
Well, and I don't know. Send in your vote, man. Add them to the list. But I'm
gonna have to have a talk with the CEO of ESPN.
It's due to how the teams are doing and how the teams are performing,
right.
And they hold those guys in high esteem. And LeBron has been doing it for so long. Giannis, we obviously know how good he is. I kind of want to pass the torch to someone else when it comes to that, because they really, at the end of the day, LeBron doesn't care if he wins MVP as long as he gets a championship. He really does not care.
Right.
But go ahead. I'm sorry.
So to round out the top 10, we got Paul George, who's been averaging 24.4 points per game, 6.2 rebounds, 5.5 assists. And a couple names that I put in here who I didn't see on the list that maybe should be getting some attention. James Harden, I know that offensive firepower for Brooklyn has been lights out, but I put him in around number 11, averaging 24.3 points per game, 8.4 rebounds, 11.8 assists. The guy he could get a triple-double whenever he wants, honestly. There's just times he just seems lazy when he's out on the floor. At number 12, I have Zach LaVine for Chicago, who doesn't get enough love, who hasn't really gotten enough love his entire NBA career, in my opinion.
Won the dunk contest, right?
Yeah.
A couple years ago?
Mm-hmm. For Chicago, 28.2 points per game, 5.5 rebounds, 5.2 assists. And get my man Bradley Beal out of Washington.
Yeah.
Because he is just... they're not doing anything to help him. Yeah, you brought in Russell Westbrook, but the best player on that team, I think, is Bradley Beal.
Well, there was a big controversy last year, wasn't it, when there was the argument with him in the organization and talking about what he was going to do to get out. And it's disappointing when you see these guys and they're working hard, and some of them end up getting locked into contracts. And I'll take it back all the way to a time when I can barely remember, but with Scottie Pippen, someone like that who was a Robin to a Batman.
Right.
They lock him in for a huge contract. You're begging to get out. There's some clause in there, for you not to agree. Meanwhile, your counterpart, Russell Westbrook, a.k.a. Michael Jordan, is sitting there getting paid just buku bucks and lots of endorsements. Buku bucks, lots of endorsements. And then you've got Russ, too, who, I don't know. Bradley Beal doesn't have shoes, right? Durant's got shoes. All the rest of these guys have shoes. You're averaging 33 points a game for the former Bullets, the Washington Wizards. And a little throwback for you from back when Chicago was playing. But yeah, it's disappointing to see. It's disheartening for me to be a fan and watch something like that. And if you're a Washington fan, which we'll get to later on, then I just campaign for him to get out of there, Seth. Seth, get him to Cleveland. Bring him in.
I love how you brought that up. There is one Washington fan out there who believes that the Wizards can win it all, but I won't tell you yet.
More on that later.
Yeah. So I put Bradley Beal in there as number 13, like you said, 33.1 points per game, 5.2 rebounds, 4.4 assists. Who would be your favorite right now?
I'm going to go back to Jokic. I'm going to go back to there's a lot of guys on this list I like. If I'm disqualifying every one of these guys who have as an extra superstar on their team, fine. I'm going with Joel Embiid. He's a big man who I like. What I watched him do last night in their game, shucks, I'm not even going to sit here and think about who it was that they played against. It'll come to me shortly, but I'm not going to harp on that. What I watched him do in their game last night and how they held out. And he's putting up these numbers, and he's getting stretched out during the middle of the game. He's not necessarily playing as many minutes as all the rest of these guys. So is he, by definition, the most valuable player to that team? Yes. If he's not out there, they're not doing some of the things that they're doing. They're rolling him out at times. And, there's other names that are on that team. Young Curry, Seth Curry. And he's out there playing great, but he's having some trouble coming back from COVID, and where he was playing under 10 points a game for a little while, and he raised the bar and got over 20 recently last night. Yeah. But I'll go with Joel Embiid.
Okay. And to answer your question, in a sense, the 76ers ended up beating the Rockets last night, 118-113. Embiid had 31 points, 11 rebounds, 9 assists in that game.
The Rockets are forgettable since they don't have a brand name on that team at this time.
My man John Wall doesn't get enough love either. He's still out there killing it. Yeah. If I had to choose one, man, and I've been saying this ever since last season, Damien Lillard, he's only ranked 8th right now. I don't know why he is not in the top 3 every single year. And got a little fun fact about Damien Lillard coming up here in just a moment. So, Joel Embiid, who you have sitting at number 2, I'll take Damien Lillard. He's just been an unstoppable guard for that Portland Trailblazers team. So those are our MVP frontrunners. Let's move on to boom or bust. Kind of like they do on a show, Bishop and Laurinaitis. They do thing or not a thing. This is kind of what we're doing, except in the NBA, you can have some guys come into the league and they can either be a boom or a bust. So that's kind of what we're going with it. So boom is a thing or bust is not a thing. First one, Luca Doncic finishes in the top 3 in MVP voting this year. He was the Rookie of the Year in 2018 and finished number 4 last season in 2019. This year, he's sitting at 9th.
Bust. He's not going to make it in there this year. Rookie of the Year. It's you see more. The more and more you see a guy, the more you learn how to play against him and stop him. So bust.
Okay, then. Interesting. I'm going to go with boom. I think that he is the star player for that team. If they don't have him, he's averaging nearly a triple-double, okay? Right now this season, 29.1 points per game, 8.6 rebounds, 9.4 assists. He does it all for them, really. And if he's not on that team, then they don't have the record that they do. They're not sitting right outside of the top 8. To be able to have a chance to get into the playoffs. And I think that, I know it's your opinion, but you're wrong. So
I can appreciate that. Though you just campaigned for Lillard, you just campaigned for Beal. I'm wondering where Doncic fits in there.
And like we said, it's only 29 games, about 30 games into the season, so we still got another 40 to go before we can actually see which player and which team actually does have the true MVP. Number 2, do the Cavs actually make it to 20 wins this season? About a month and a half ago, our man Aaron Schleter on the Millennial Pod had said that the Cavs don't make it to 20 wins, and after this 8-game losing streak, I just had to throw it in there to raise a little bit of controversy.
Boom. They make it to 20 wins.
Yeah. I think they have to too. Like JD Bickerstaff said, they're just going through a rough patch right now where they're playing some of the best teams in the league. They played like 8 straight on the West Coast, and it's tough, but they're just going through a little rough patch right now, but they're sitting 10-19 right now, 29 games in, still another 40 to play. I think that they can go, if they can win 1 out of 2, 1 out of 3, they'll be able to make it to that 20-win mark we're looking for.
Yikes.
Next one, LeBron made it to his 9th finals in the past 10 years last season. Can he make it to 10 out of his 11 this year?
Boom. He'll go. They need a healthy Anthony Davis along the way. But boom, LeBron will get back in there and, link up with Tom Brady with 10 championships.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I agree. Boom too. It's like Tom Brady in the NFL. he's still playing, I'm going to be putting my money on that he'll be able to make it to the finals, make it to that championship game. Also, last one here for Boom or Bust. Like I said, thing or not a thing. Last night, Damien Lillard hit an and-one layup to help lead the Trailblazers over New Orleans with 6 seconds left. With that basket, Damien Lillard now has 25 tie or go-ahead baskets in the final 20 seconds of the fourth quarter or overtime. Those 25 are the most in the league since Damien Lillard entered the league in 2012-2013.
Boom.
Yeah, as if it's even a question.
It's absolutely phenomenal. Those are statistics that you don't think about naturally. And when you look up something like that, you're kind of like, oh, you can make a really good statistic out of anything. Well, it's a stat for a reason, and no one's going to bring it up, but he's the reason why that team competes the way that they do. And I don't know, the guy's simply phenomenal. Yep. And for some reason, the only reason why I know that Hulu doesn't just have live sports is because of him.
I knew you were gonna put it.
I'm just saying. I don't even
Hulu
have Hulu.
Doesn't just have live sports. It's a lifestyle. Yeah. I mean, this is one of the reasons why I campaign for Damian Lillard to win the MVP. The dude steps up and makes. They call it Dame time for a reason. He steps up and makes shots when it's necessary to be able to get the win. Basically, I was trying to think of something real intellectual to say, but nothing was coming up.
You've had trouble with your words all day. Let's stay away from intellect.
Words are hard. All right. Now to, I love this, that I added this in. It's called a technical foul. Basically, you can pick an athlete, an actor, actress, whoever you want, Joe Schmo that you work with at McDonald's. I don't care. Give this person a technical foul if they did something stupid, said something stupid, whatever the case may be. Give them a technical foul. Do you want to go first or me?
Seth, I need to hear yours first because I know you've been waiting for this all day.
I have. So I've heard this yesterday. A man in Vegas has put $10,000 down on the Washington Wizards to win the NBA championship. Okay? The Wizards are 9-17 after last night's win, 130 to 128 victory over the Nuggets, which moves them to 13th out of 15th in the East. The Wizards haven't even made it past the second round of the postseason since 1979. However, if the Wizards miraculously pull off the unthinkable, that $10,000 will be $5 million. The payout will be incredible, but I think that's a little bit of this man's pride that's talking to him that says that the Wizards will be able to win. But I think you just got to be smart about this. Like, come on now. You really think that the Wizards are going to be able to win the NBA championship this year?
I'll tell you, like a guy at the blackjack table told me one day, if you want to just give your money away, you can send it over here. You must have $10,000 to just do this with, and that's fine if that's what you want to do. But you could disperse that in some other areas. Obviously, he's not worried about tax write-offs, or else he would have donated it to charity. Right. But he's looking for a big come up, and he's going to have to pay some money back on that, surely. Yeah, no, that's pretty insane. But obviously, you've got $10K to spend. I don't. Yeah. So personally, I wouldn't have put $10 on him. But whatever, my payout's not going to be $5 million, and I don't believe that your boy Bradley is going to take him all the way to the ship.
No, and that's what I was saying to myself. Like, if I had $10 to bet on this, I wouldn't put it on the Wizards because I knew that they wouldn't. I know that there's no way that they're going to win this year.
Yeah, no,
there's just too many problems, especially now with Russell Westbrook coming in. I don't think he's not really the same player that he has been since he left the Thunder. After his time in Houston, he did some good things. Now his time in Washington, not really doing a whole lot. So that's going to be my technical foul.
My technical foul is going to go out to the relative, the daughter, the woman who is so upset at Tom Brady for having thrown the Lombardi trophy from boat to boat. I listened to that countless times.
She's like one of like the creators of the trophy or something like that.
I believe that she's a descendant of the Lombardi family, and my family worked really hard for this, and I wish we would have inserted the sound clip because she was so upset demanding that Tom Brady needs to apologize to the family, demanding that it's an unspeakable act, like it was violent or something. I've heard people.
She said she lost like 2 days of sleep.
Yeah,
over
I've
it or
heard
something.
people be spit on and say less. I mean, my technical foul is going to her because she made something out of nothing, and now she got her voice on air to be able, as I'm doing right now, is I'm blowing out hot air. But hey, whatever. It just that for me. Come on, you got to chill out. And there were some people had said, was it a replica of the trophy? Was it the real trophy? I don't know. And really, quite frankly, I don't care. It was caught. Yeah. If you want to think about what could have happened, fine. But what I'm talking about is Brait caught it. Okay, it doesn't matter how much, but I also heard people joking around. That girl needs a little avocado tequila, and then maybe she'll be a little loose at that time. But no, you're getting my technical foul, Miss Lombardi or descendant of Lombardi, whoever. And I forget her name because she's not relevant, and I'll probably end up getting a little post coming to me later on because I told her that. Because if she's that worried about Tom Brady throwing around a Lombardi trophy and it being caught and it not sinking to the bottom of the ocean, then she'd probably come after me for telling her that she's getting a technical foul.
Do you think that if nobody would have caught it and would have started going down, do you think somebody was going to go down and
The answer is Gronk.
Yeah.
Gronk would have dove into the water and saved the Lombardi trophy. Either that,
that's what I was thinking,
or out of the middle of the deep abyss that is the dark sea, floats up with 3 Lombardi trophies, Eli Manning.
Yes, you did it. Oh, that's awesome. I'm so glad that you did that.
We're both Pisces, folks. We're in sync. None of this was planned.
You guys wouldn't understand. I'm Pisces.
No, you sure can't.
All right. That was an awesome show. I'm glad that you used that as your technical foul. I didn't even think about that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome. All right. Episode 2 of Ball Don't Lie is in the books, and it was a good one. Didn't reference Eli Manning as many times as the first one, but we snuck it in there. I'm so glad you said that at the end.
Yes, no,
That's
and
hilarious.
it just makes sense. And then it's like, oh, hey Tom, I now I have your other one. It just makes sense that like, hey, now I have 3 of your Lombardis, Tom. And then it's a real slap in the face. But if anything would have happened, Gronk would have gone and got it. Or Eli Manning, like the mermaid Eli Manning would have come up with it. So the mermail Eli Manning, the Mermanning.
Mermanning.
The Eli Mermanning. Goodness, we better stop.
I think we need a nap, man. Like I said, this is the second episode of Ball Don't Lie. Seth Donohoe alongside the one and only Julian Jackson. We apologize for getting started late this week. Tuesday there was quite a bit of snow that ended up coming down and had to do class virtually and everything. So here we are on a Thursday, but next week will be on Tuesday for the 3rd episode of Ball Don't Lie. Be sure to tune in. And before that, be sure to catch Julian and myself on the Crockpot Show. That starts at 1?
Yeah, we always target for 1. It's in the afternoon, folks. You can catch us early afternoon. Just tune in at noon and watch all the stuff we've got to offer for you on Score on Air Network.
Yeah, absolutely. And just took the words out of my mouth. Ball Don't Lie, Seth Donohoe, Julian Jackson on Score on Air Network. We'll see you next week.